stocks. Little change today ahead of critical nationwide elections coming tomorrow. Let's get the latest from Courtney Donohoe at the New York Stock Exchange. A lot of buying in the morning, but it all fizzled out, Courtney.
Yeah, big turnaround for stocks, but a very busy week here. A lot of major events are happening this first week of November. Huge focus for investors, midterm elections tomorrow. The midterm campaign has been shaped by the unemployment rate at or above 9.5% for the last 14 months. So some major changes may be in store. On Wednesday, the Fed wrapping up its open market committee meeting, and on Friday, we got the monthly government jobs report and the need to improve the labor market. One of the reasons investors expect the Fed to step in, pump more money into the economy this week. And these expectations of quantitative easing gave a bit of a drive for stocks earlier in the session, as you said. But late in the afternoon, stocks pared their gains on the back of the financials. The SEC investigating a transaction between JPMorgan and Magnetar Capital Hedge Fund, and this comes from the website ProPublica. Now, the SEC is investigating whether it allowed the fund to improperly select assets for a $1.1 billion deal backed by subprime mortgages. But I was talking to Jonathan Corpina of Meridian Equity Partners on the floor here, and he said that sector is going to continue to be fragile as we get more details about what went on between 2007 and 2009. So he said there's probably going to be a lot more headlines like this in the future, Pimm.
Now, Courtney, I love it. You know everybody there on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. They know a lot is on the line for the Federal Reserve as policymakers gathering for 2 days of deliberations. What are we expecting?
Well, the Fed will probably announce another round of quantitative easing at the conclusion of the meeting, and economists expecting the Fed to buy at least $500 billion in long-term securities. Now, our GDP expanding at a 2% rate in the third quarter, and the cooling inflation, that's underscoring the view that some sort of stimulus is needed to kickstart growth. Well, if the efforts work, it could bring down the unemployment rate, but the Fed overshoots on the plan, it could produce the same type of bubbles in housing that got us into this mess in the first place. Or if it fails to really do anything for the economy, the question is, what can the Fed do next? Does it really have anything to really help this economy? Well, in the end, we're in uncharted waters, and Corpina and others here telling me that it should definitely be an interesting week.
Now, Courtney, jobs, a big focus this week, as you've said. So if you're looking for a job, is there a benefit to not being a U.S. citizen?
Exactly. Well, there's been big focus for the election, focus for the Fed on jobs. But listen to this. Immigrant workers have gained more than 500,000 jobs in the U.S. since the end of the recession last year. But U.S.-born workers, they continue to lose jobs. AFP looked at a study conducted by the Pew Hispanic Center, and it showed that immigrants of all races, all ethnicities, gained 656,000 jobs. But U.S.-born workers lost 1.2 million jobs in the same period. But if you look at wages, foreign-born wages, that fell by 4.5% since last year. But native-born fell by less than 1% in the same time. So interesting stats leading up to this week, Pimm.
All right. Thank you very much. Courtney Donohoe reporting from the New York Stock Exchange.